Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Good to see your faces. So I'm going to kick things off since we have three special guests today. And for those who are not familiar with me, I'm Sam Filler, Executive Director of the New York Wine Grape Foundation. And I am joined today by Tony Sandonato, Stacy Muldoon from Mengel-Metzger Bar, Jen Warrington from the Wise Academy, and Greg Mcconnell from Farm Credit East. So I will just start it off because we said this was going to be all about capacity building, and I wanted to give a little background about what we mean by that. Let me just pull up my PowerPoint. So if you're not familiar, or if you're just tuning in, we use the COVID crisis as an opportunity to radically reform our membership program. And radical is, I'm sure you belong to other associations, and the membership dues are benchmarked to your annual production, which is what the foundation's due structure had been since its inception in 1985. And I think there was a lot of good reasons for that. I think it allowed for an equitable distribution of dues, or an equitable taxation system. But, I think our industry has advanced, and, we were getting a lot of questions when I started about, I pay this in dues and I'm not really seeing the return in value, or, I really like this, but I don't like that, or, it just wasn't clear what the connection between dues was and what membership in the Wine and Grape Foundation meant. So because we had done so much outreach and dialogues with many of you in the industry, it gave us a good sense of how we could reposition our membership program. And we had started doing many of the things now that we consider part of the membership program by hosting educational webinars, connecting you with our business associate partners. And I want to recognize Mengel-Metzger Bar, because they, as soon as I started, we sat down and had a breakfast at the old Inn on the Lake, and talked about how they could support what we're doing. And it took us a little time to get there, but we launched the Vine Line hotline with them, which is now a key membership benefit. Farm Credit East has long been a champion and a supporter of the industry and a supporter of the Wine and Grape Foundation. And I was always dying to start some kind of relationship with them. And they had been doing work with the Wise Academy, and we were like, we want a little bit of that too. So, I think it's all coming together, and it's all coming together under this new membership model. And we know there's probably a lot of different business models out there. There's different stages of growth. You may be transitioning to the next generation of family ownership. You may be just getting into the industry. You may have been a dog walker in New York City, and now you're starting your own urban winery. Whatever it is, we want to offer you something that meets you where you're at, and that's why we're really putting these partners at the forefront of membership. And so we now have 3 tiers of membership, and depending at what tier you're at, you get a little bit more and more of this sort of specialized service. And I think I'm sort of inspired by what my background was, which prior to this, I was running the one-stop shop for Empire State Development, which is the state's economic development agency. And my job was to resolve a lot of regulatory issues and business questions. And I found that to be really a meaningful and effective job. And so we're sort of expanding upon that concept here. And I guess what I was going to say is I partly view the role of the Wine and Grape Foundation as being a business development or economic development entity. And so it just gets me excited. I know it gets Val excited too, that anything we can do to really support your business and help it grow and help it become more sophisticated and professionalized, we want to be able to connect you with those resources. And we're so excited about this industry and where it's going and its growth potential that we want to do everything we can to make it easier for you to make the great wines and the great great products that you're already doing. So just to get a little bit more into capacity building. So, what is it and why does it matter? And, it's really about investing in yourself, investing in new ways of doing business. And I think what we've really learned over the past year is it's important to have resiliency. And where do you get resiliency from? It's from good planning. It's from connecting to, the cutting edge techniques and resources that are out there. And, like I said, we're really invested in the long-term growth of this industry. And so we really think, taking the time to reflect on your tasting room practices, or, are you taking advantage of all the, tax breaks and tax credits out there? Are you doing the best analysis of your budget that you can? So we want to help bring that to you through these partners. It's really about creating tangible improvements to your business and continual assessment. And, I think what I really like is just the process of self-improvement, reflection, and really, figuring out how do I continue to take things to the next step. So here are some of our partners not included on the webinar today. Sandra Hess from DTC Wine Workshops. We started working with her last spring, and she's been great at delivering workshops related to direct-to-consumer sales, how to optimize your website. And then, as I mentioned, we were able to formalize a partnership with the Wise Academy, and they have just such a great range of educational classes, technical skill building. I would say it's like getting a master's degree and being part of the wine industry. That's the quality that you're getting from them. And then, as I mentioned, Mengel Nescabar, they're running our Vineline hotline. That's for any of your accounting questions, excise tax issues. I think the cool thing about Tony is not only is he a CPA, but he's also an attorney. So you're getting just a double whammy of just amazing expertise. And Stacy is his partner behind the scenes, but just equally as important in making sure you get the best service possible from them. And then new this year is a partnership we have with Farm Credit East, and Greg and his team of consultants can really help you step back and analyze your business. And depending on your membership tier, you can get some discounts on the Winery Benchmark program and additional specialized consulting. So we're really excited about that. And I think all these partners we have really fit well together in elevating the game for our industry and helping you appropriately grow and improve the capacity of your business. So I don't know if we had a specific order of speakers, but since Greg is joining us from his car, and I know sometimes it can get a little funky out there taking meetings in your car, I'll turn it over to Greg first and let him share an update from Farm Credit East. Am I on track here, Val? Got everything right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, this is Craig Mcconnell. For those who I haven't met yet, I'll tell you just a little about myself. I'm a long-term resident of the Finger Lakes area. I think I started out with Farm Credit East in 1996 as a loan officer. I think I did my first winery loan in 1997. And so I've been involved evaluating and working with wineries since then. I've been a business consultant with Farm Credit East. So basically I shifted completely from commercial lending to a completely new position within Farm Credit where all I do is consulting. I'm not allowed to be involved in a loan decision. As a matter of fact, there's a theoretical firewall, if you will, between the lending side and the services side of our business. So I'm just consulting. I've done the Winery Benchmark for about 11 years. The Winery Benchmark is a really deep dive into your business, a management review basically of your business, both the earnings, the net worth, the liquidity of the business, culminating in a sort of a SWOT analysis of your business. We do an annual meeting, and then we do a follow-up review of with you at your winery to go over the strengths and weaknesses and your strategic plan for the next year. In addition to that, a lot of people don't know that I also do some work with wine trails, and we study sort of real-time sales studies. And then in addition to that, I also do some estate planning and succession planning. I actually do a fair amount of that, as well as strategic planning with wineries. So I'm very pleased to be a partner with New York Wine and Grape Foundation. This is a great opportunity, I think, both for everyone concerned, and I'm also very pleased to be a co-partner with these other great businesses that are involved, the ones that Sam just mentioned. So Sam, do you want me to mention anything else about the specifics of our Farm Credits partnership with you?
Yeah, if you could dive deeper in that, that'd be great, because I know I gave it the sugar coating surface explanation. And of course, you can always go to newyorkwines.org and read more, but if you could share more, that'd be great.
Sure. So Valerie, you feel free, or Sam, to correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is if you're a tier 2 member, you can sign up for an hour of consulting with myself or one of my other consulting colleagues at Farm Credit East. And then as a tier 2 member, you can get another hour. So the idea being that we would provide consulting via virtual means. We're going to have an intake form so we know what you'd like to be consulted with on one of the topics that we've just discussed. And then through that intake form, we'd spend that hour and I would send you a follow-up email sort of with some recommendations. Those tier 3 members get that extra hour, usually done in a separate meeting. So we'd have kind of go ahead, Sam.
No, we lost you for a second.
Oh, okay. So I'll back up just a little bit. So the idea being that as a tier 3 member, you can have 2 separate virtual consulting sessions for an hour each. So that, I think the thing that's really intriguing about that is you think about wineries of various sizes, consulting can be quite expensive. This gives that tier 2 or tier 3 member of New York Wine and Grape Foundation a chance to get, go deep for an hour or two, kind of figure out, get a sense of direction. If you want to go further, we can talk about additional work. But for a lot of folks, it's hard to even get to that level. So that's that program. In addition to that, as a tier 2 or tier 3 New York Wine and Grape Foundation member, you can join our winery benchmark this year for with a subsidy. Subsidy is $350 toward the annual fee for this benchmark. And so if you've ever been interested in the winery benchmark, this would put it within reach of almost any size winery that's a member of New York Wine and Grape Foundation. It's a great program. It's a great way to get a deep understanding of your business. Again, if you've never done it before, we'd love to have you on board for this year. And the signups will be starting now, but going through about the end of May. So we have some time to sort of email about it, chat about it, see if it's a good fit for you. But boy, with New York Wine and Grape Foundation subsidy of this program for your tier 2 and 3 members, it puts it within financial reach. So.
And I just wanted to say thanks, Greg, and let folks know that this is our newest benefit. And to clarify that it hasn't been uploaded to the website, we're hoping to get an email out to you guys on Saturday. The great thing, what we try to do with these capacity building benefits is give you a couple different options depending on where you are and how ready you are to take some of these things on. So for instance, with Farm Credit East, I almost look at it as like 3 different options. The first thing we are going to start with like just a basic webinar, so you can learn about like financial analysis and what the benchmarks program is. And Greg will even give you some hints and tips and tools, just like you would expect from any educational webinar of ours. We're going to start that out in May. and so that could be just your first step, toe in the water kind of a thing. And then if you're a tier 2 member, you then get an additional hour, or you get an hour of consulting with Greg or a member of his team, kind of go a little bit further and decide if you want to kind of go through the benchmarks program or do some other type of consulting work, or if you're all set with where you are and you want to say, thank you very much, we're going to take our benefit and they're going to head out. Tier 3 members would get the chance to come back for an additional second hour and say, okay, we have some additional opportunities or some, challenges that we want to explore with you. I want my second free hour, Greg and team. So that will also be available. And again, we'll have this online, should be online this weekend. And you'll see the email coming out hopefully on Saturday. And then in November, we're going to follow up with, I think, another webinar, right, Greg, on succession planning or kind of business continuity planning for those who are looking at some options there. So we really just, for all of our partners here and our friends around the table, it's always like, okay, how can I dip my toe in the water, see if I like it? How can I spend more time, maybe sit in on a webinar, listen to a recording? Okay, how do I get together with you? Because I really have a question that I want to nail down. So, but anyway, Greg, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add there, but I just wanted to let people know that if they look for it online, it's not quite ready yet. You're our newest partner.
Yep. No, thank you for that, Valerie, and a good clarification on those 2 webinars that are planned. Yeah, I think that pretty much gets the word out there. You can certainly visit Farm Credit East, look for Winery Benchmark Farm Credit East. You'll find a lot more about it on that landing site, but really by the weekend, yeah, go right to New York Wine Grape Foundation. You'll read all about it. You'll have more detail. So.
And I just want to share what I'm so excited about this partnership and relationship. We worked with Greg and Nathan Rogers on our strategic plan in 2018. And then we worked with Nathan again to help Long Island Wine Country redo their strategic plan. And I think they really have an on the ground knowledge of the industry, and they're really approachable and accessible. And I just love data too, and analyzing it and looking at trends. And I think the more that we all take these things seriously, the better the quality of our businesses will be, and our decision making. So I don't know if I'll put you on the spot again, Greg, but there's just examples that he shared with us is just little simple tweaks that he's done in his consulting with wineries. It's really made a big difference in their effectiveness. I think you even had an example of just looking at people's inventory during COVID and how to manage that, because there was so much uncertainty last spring. Am I recalling correctly?
Yeah, I mean, there was a fair amount of worry that if wine sales were down, what was that going to mean for, are we going to have so many, grapes available? We aren't going to have room in our tanks to absorb the new crop and things like that. So we did some planning. Actually worked with Hans Peterson, on that, and just a whole lot of discussions about that issue. But I mean, a typical case would be, we go into a winery with the Winery Benchmark and really look at their data compared to a peers, and look at the relationship between, if you have X number of visitors, we call them tasters, to the winery, and let's say the typical winery was at $38 of retail sales per visitor, and this particular winery is at $28. What were those differences, and helping them dial in their tasting room staff to capture more add-on sales? Or maybe there's a problem with the price per bottle. Maybe they were actually underpricing in certain cases, or maybe they had to work on cost of production. So a lot of our wineries could attest that they were able to use the Winery Benchmark program to identify their next step that they needed to take to either attain profits or enhance profits, or either way, really improve their business far in excess of the fee that they paid us, just because they didn't see the weakness in the business before. In addition, I mean, it's been great to tell our story about what Farm Credit offers, but we're also, I think, as you might have planned to announce here later, Sam, but we're also sponsoring some of the other partners on this call. So we're actually doubling down Farm Credit's contribution to really hopefully give this whole project a nudge. So we're certainly very keen on the other partners on this call as well. And so we're writing a check to assist the whole project. So
Thank you, Greg. Well, let me also share that we have the chat box. So if you do have any questions, you can unmute yourself or you can drop it in the chat. And if you have approbations like Brittany threw in there, like Greg rocks, I'm sure they'd love to hear it from you too verbally. So, feel free to do that. This is a chat. It's not meant to be such a formal presentation. So, interrupt anytime you like. But Greg, thank you again for joining us, and thanks for your partnership. I think now we'll switch over to the West Coast and hear from Jen Warrington at Wise.
Great, thank you. So we are super excited to be working with you all. We've got some great programs coming up, and can't wait to share everything. So Wise has been in the industry since 2008. Our whole premise is to raise the bar in the wine industry. So we're here to help you. We're here to help your communities, your associations, your wineries. We want you to get better as leaders in your industry, any way that we can. We started with doing classes. They were pre-COVID all in person. Now with the gift of COVID, we are now doing everything remotely. But most of our classes, except for the ones specifically for New York, are West Coast time. So if you want to join us, please do. We've got probably 25 or 30 different types of classes that we offer. And then we also do mystery shopping. We do like one-on-one coaching. We do a whole bunch of things in the industry to help our winery partners. And that's what we look at you as a partner. We're here to help you and how we can do that the best way. We have some exciting programs coming up with I think the first one out of the gate is Wine Club Mastery in April. We also have tasting room best practices that we're also offering in June. So if you want to get your teams up to speed and ready to sell in a brand appropriate way, I would highly recommend that. We also have a whole list of the courses and classes that we have, which are being offered through the association, where you can send or you can take a class up to $400, and they're paying that portion for you. So I put a list of classes that are coming up, the schedule, or like all of the classes that we have. So happy to answer any questions on that.
Hey, Jen, can I just remind people that it's now through the 31st of March. You need to sign up for that. So I just wanted to, I was going to drop that in the chat, but I thought I would.
Yes, I would
poke my head up.
Thank you. Yes. So we only have a small window of opportunity to get those purchased. So if you are at all interested, please do that. There's a promo code from the foundation, so that'll give you the $400 off. So please go ahead and use that.
Feel free to email me.
Thanks, Greg. Yes. Leslie did do some speaking with Farm Credit East as well. We're also doing some coaching, consulting one-on-one. So if any winery or association or whatever, as a member, if you have anything that you're struggling with on the direct-to-consumer side of the business, or change management or anything like that, we've got a team of people. So depending on what your challenges or your opportunity, I will set you up with the correct Wise team member, and I'll ask you some pre-questions. All you have to do is email me, tell me what the topic is. I'll email you back and say, okay, ABC, like what are your big challenges here? Tell me a little more. And then I set up an appointment with you and a team member whenever it's, you're available, and we go from there. So, we've got lots of resources. We're happy to help. We have tons of people that are willing and able to help. So I'm just super excited to be able to work with the New York wine industries. Does anybody have any questions or anything I can do to help you succeed?
Jen, just wanted to make sure. Sorry, I think that's me back, like there's some echo chamber. Just wanted to clarify that the consulting or the coaching services with WISE are available to our tier 3 members. And I believe that they are 90-minute sessions that you're offering up. So that's a little bit different as well. And because I think with WISE, we don't have an intake form, it is a direct email to Jen, and then she'll kind of vet through kind of your opportunities or the presenting challenges and then pair you with the right person. And I don't know, maybe everyone's going to talk about this later, but can you talk about what the session is like and what the participants can expect from those 90 minutes?
Yeah, it's a working session. So depending on what your challenges is, you know, I'll pair you up with somebody, and it's basically, you know, if you are looking at incentive compensation, for example, that was one of the first ones. We want to know more about, okay, what have you tried? What's worked? What doesn't work? You know, what are your questions? Okay, get us up to speed on what you're, and then just a whole conversation so that we can get you, you know, feeling comfortable and able to just like run with whatever you need to do. And then we provide any kind of other resources you might need. If it's a, you know, a way to track your metrics, we might have a template for you, or you know, suggest other classes that we're doing that might help, you know, augment some of that, those things. So it's really free form, and it depends, but it's very much focused and specific to that person's interest, challenge, opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're getting great feedback from people who have had some of the consulting sessions. So that's some good news. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's we're all so busy, and it's such a new offering from the foundation, but I think you know, this is a great investment to make in yourself and in your business. And you know, even with our team here, we really stress the importance of professional development and making time to do that every year and making time to invest in that. And you know, we're leveraging the dollars that we're getting from New York State to support the industry. And you know, we really feel strongly that, you know, this is a good use of those dollars to support you all. So I hope that you take advantage, and hope you also share feedback with us so we can continue to make improvements, because, you know, I think we're on the right track here. But, you know, we know everything's not perfect, and we just want to do our best to serve you all. So if there's any other questions for Jen, approbations? No? All right. Well, we will thank you, Jen, and we'll come back to the Finger Lakes. We'll hear from Tony and Stacy.
Thanks, Sam. I'm Tony Sandinato. I'm a partner with Mango Masker Bar. Joining me is my colleague, Stacy Muldoon. She's our Chief Growth Officer. She's very involved in the business development and marketing side with our firm. She also has a great knowledge of the winery industry. And what I'm going to do is give kind of an overview of our firm and some of the resources we can bring to the foundation. And then I want to reserve some time for Stacy to join in as well. So I wanted to start by giving you just a brief overview of our firm. We were founded in 1975. We have offices in Rochester, Elmira, and Canandaigua. We have approximately 130 people. And we actually, in all three of the offices, serve the winery industry. It's been a great growth area for our firm. And we have a lot of people in the firm that have a lot of passion for the industry. So we really enjoy that a lot. What I want to do now is just kind of give you an overview of a lot of the issues that I see that a lot of the member wineries have in terms of areas of interest, areas of concern in the accounting and tax area. One of the areas we've focused on in terms of a lot of our webinars and outreach is in terms of tax incentives that are out there for wineries. There are a tremendous amount of incentives at both the federal and state level. And one of the things we want to do is make sure that all the member wineries are fully taking advantage of those incentives, as they can provide some real benefits in terms of cash flow to your businesses. Just a brief overview, things like the federal research and development tax credit, some of the state credits like a refundable credit for the gallons of wine produced. There are credits for investment in certain infrastructure and property, plant, and equipment. Credits for real estate taxes. Many of these are fully refundable. So we want to make sure that all of the members are aware of the current status of the tax law and the benefits that are out there. We're also involved with outreach in terms of making sure that wineries are aware of economic development incentives at both the federal and state level. We've worked with members in terms of USDA programs as well as Empire State Development programs. So we want to certainly make sure that we're educating the members as far as what's out there and available. We've also done some work in the area of winery management in terms of things like inventory, costing, and control, bookkeeping type services, and just making sure that there are best practices that the members are aware of in terms of accounting. We've also done some work in terms of excise tax compliance. There's been some changes the last few years in terms of the permanent lowering of the excise tax rates. So just making sure that members are fully aware of that as well. We also get involved in terms of more long-range strategic planning. We're involved with estate planning and succession planning. Obviously, a lot of wineries are family-owned businesses, and just helping them to navigate to the next generation is something we want to make sure that members are doing effectively. Just a recap of a lot of the webinars that we've given over the course of the past couple of years. We usually do a year-end planning webinar, just kind of a best practices in terms of making sure from an accounting and tax standpoint, you have things in good shape as you close out the particular year. We've also done new legislation updates. There's been a lot of developments the last year, things like the CARES Act, a lot of developments in terms of PPP loans, both the first and second round in the forgiveness applications. So, that's been an area of interest to a lot of members. Related to the webinars, we entered into an office hours consultation arrangement where, and I believe this is for second and third tier members, anyone who participates in a given webinar, if they have specific follow-up questions that are unique to their winery, they can schedule an hour consultation with me. And I think it works out well because I think a lot of times when people are listening to a webinar, they may have some questions that are very specific to their particular winery, and they may not feel comfortable asking those questions to the general group that's attending. So this is a good way to kind of tailor the webinar topic to your specific winery and have some good follow-up. So we're really excited about that program. One of the things I would recommend if you participate in the office hours is if you wanted to contact me ahead of time, maybe email me what your questions are. That way I can make sure I'm fully prepared and we can get the best value for you in terms of that hour consultation. As Sam mentioned, we also have the help desk, which is a mechanism where you can submit questions to Sam and Val, and they'll forward those to me. And with a 48-hour time frame, I'll get back to you with some answers to those questions. And if there's any related follow-up after that, we can do that as well. That's really my overview. I wanted to turn it over to my colleague, Stacy. And Stacy is a great partner and colleague to have, and she has a lot of passion for the industry. So her input as well.
Mostly because I like your products. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, I just really wanted to reinforce what Tony said. Obviously, we're between the webinars, the office hours, the help desk line. Our main goal is to educate you. And like Greg mentioned earlier, in that 1 hour phone call with enough prep time given to Tony, you can accomplish a lot and get a lot out of it. So really our main goal is just to educate. And as you guys grow, we grow as well. So we've really enjoyed our partnership with the Wine Grape Foundation. We're obviously, as Sam mentioned, we were on it the second he stepped on board. So we're eager to continue our relationship with you. If you ever have ideas of webinars that you want to see, I know Val and Sam are in really great contact with all of you, but you can always reach out to me as well and share that with us because I love hearing ideas. We have our own thoughts on what you need to know, but you guys know better than we do. So don't be afraid to share those with me. And we can either work with you directly or set something up on a larger scale with Sam and Val to make that available to all of the foundation. We really just want to be there for you. So aside from the foundation too, I just wanted to mention, we do have a newsletter that goes out if you're interested in receiving it directly from our firm, where we offer monthly tips that go out. Just could be an upcoming deadline. It could be something legislative that just passed. Just a little tidbit of information we send out monthly, as well as a newsletter that we send out it's somewhat monthly, maybe every 6 weeks. That's more general business advisory type topics. So if anyone is interested in getting those, you can just send your email address to me. I can put my email address in the chat, and just reach out and we'd be glad to add you to that as well. That's it. Thank you guys for the time.
Yep, thank you.
I just want to highlight again where I think, Tony is quite unique in his skill set with the legal background is, looking at things sometimes just from an accounting perspective doesn't also capture alcohol beverage law compliance, and the excise tax is collected by the Department of Tax and Finance, but you're still regulated by the state liquor authority, and those, the SLA rules sort of sometimes affect the excise tax rules. And I'm thinking specifically of, and this is like maybe opening a can of worms, but in the wine industry are able to offer free tastings or tax-free tastings, and depending on how the definitions line up at the SLA and tax and finance, it can create some compliance issues as to how you document that. So, I think MMB is fortunate to have Tony, and we're fortunate to have him as a resource because looking at one thing from the legal silo, the accounting silo might still get you into trouble. So, and I know from my time running the one-stop shop, there's a lot of gray areas when it comes to alcohol beverage industry. So, the more sunlight you can put on things, the better. So I'm excited about growing this relationship and what they can do for the wine and grape industry. Any questions, or Val, do you want to add anything?
Just, invite people who either took some of the seminars or have worked with our partners in the past. If you've got any input or feedback or suggestions on how to make the most of them. I also just wanted to recommend, again, putting a toe in the water. If you get our emails, our membership updates come every other weekend now, which is a fantastic tool that you can use. And you should each get, depending on your level of membership, access to kind of a private YouTube channel that just has our recordings. So you can take some of the classes that we talked about here and just kind of see what questions pop up. See if you like the format, like the style, or the topics relevant. And then, share them with your colleagues and your staff. If you don't have the time to do it, get your team in on this. It's part of the constant process of improvement. So if you, again, I know everybody's busy, so if you don't have the time right now, those are shareable as long as you guys are, sharing them amongst your staff. So might be a good way to start.
Yeah, I see a lot of owners on the call today. So, assign your office manager to watch this video as soon as we post it. And many of the other videos that Val mentioned. Any other? Huh?
I love how all the partners and everything on the call so far, all about, helping each other and helping the wineries and helping the businesses. I just think this is a great group of people, and I couldn't be more tickled pink to be involved. So thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah.
Any questions, or,
Does anybody want to schedule their session right now, or?
Yeah.
No.
I like it, Val. Ask for the order. That's what we say. You miss 100% of the shots
I learned that
you
from
don't
you.
take.
That's right.
Fantastic.
Since we have Charlie, our board chair, on, I just want to see if you want to share anything. I know it's probably behind his oven there making pizzas.
That's the next step. No, I've got nothing to share, but I mean, we really appreciate everyone being members, and I'm glad that everybody got these introductions to these great new benefits, and it's just more evidence of the fact that, you know, Sam and Val and the whole team are working as hard as they can to not just stay relevant, but be more relevant and valuable to our membership as these hard times start to lift up.
Thanks, Charlie. We also have Amy Apiso, who is almost completing 1 year on the board. So Amy, if you want to share anything.
Hi, everybody. I don't really have too much to add except for I will be taking advantage of some of these benefits. And I think it's great. I'm particularly excited about the idea of us having access to industry benchmarks, because we all sit around like being like, we think we're doing a good job. Like, we think these are good numbers. And even when, you know, I've had potential new owners and potential new, like some of the growers out here that are thinking of opening a tasting room come to me and say, hey, like, you know, what can we expect, or what would the financials look like if we open a tasting room? And I'm like, I mean, I can share with you to a certain extent what's happening for us, but I don't know, you know, for sure what's going on with the entire industry. So I think it's going to be a good opportunity for us to know sort of how we stack up, and then also know where our weaknesses are so we can pinpoint them and work on them. So I think that's really something that's going to be good for all of us, and it'll help us raise the bar.
Thanks, Amy.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if Cameron Hosmer wants to say anything, because he flicked his camera on, but now we're checking out his plaid shirt there. Oh, he flicked off. Well, oh, there he is. Can't hear you, Cameron. No. Well, if you go up to the Finger Lakes, you got to wear your plaid.
Sam, I'm out in the field pruning Petite Verdot.
Yummy.
Yeah, it's time to get that done. Spring's coming.
The tulips are up in Central Park, so indeed it is.
Oh, no, don't tell me that. All right, well, great. This is a great program, and you got top-notch people involved in this. So thanks for putting this together.
Thank you, Cameron. All right. Well, any final comments, Val?
Just thank you to everybody here who's interested in this. I know it's going to take time, but we believe it's going to be valuable and pay off. And thanks to the whole team that's put this together, and no pressure on everybody to get all that Farm Credit East up on the website this weekend. We'll have it.
I think, just to go back to the question of spring, I just got a newsletter from Hunt Country Vineyards. So I guess Matt Kelly was multitasking, and apparently they're having some bird issues, if I read the preview of their newsletter right. So spring is here. Hopefully COVID will be behind us soon, and we can see each other in person and enjoy some wine. I know it's still early in the day in some parts, and happy hour hasn't quite started yet. So enjoy some grape juice, and we'll see you all next month. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.